Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And the Alex Salmond case has taken a bit of a turn. If you remember, there was the Hamilton report, which went into all the details of who said what and what the accusations were and everything throughout the time when Alex Salmond had been accused of doing certain things to certain women. Turns out completely innocent, of course, and it's suspected only, that it may have been a setup done in order to oust him to put Nippy in charge. Now, whether Nippy's involved or not, who knows? Possibly, probably, but no proof. And so I'm not going to say that she was, but that is the rumour. Now, the Hamilton report went into this and does name names and says who said what. And the SNP have been very reticent about releasing it. Now, it was released with redactions, and then it went to the Court of Session. And the court session took about 5 seconds to say, no, it must be revealed in full. So you have to release it in full. And so the SNP went and released it again, but with virtually all the same redactions. Again, so technically in contempt of court, one could argue. But now David Davis, so fed up with all the shenanigans going on, has gone to Alister Jack, the Scotland Secretary, who ultimately has the final power over this, to demand that he releases it in full. And we all want to hope he does. Let's take a look. So, SNP government accused of cover-up over Alex Salmond evidence as the Tory MP takes the case to Alister Jack. The Tory MP is David Davis. So, senior Tory MP David Davis asked the Scottish Secretary Alister Jack to investigate whether the Scottish Government breached the Ministerial Code and the Civil Service Code by refusing to release full details of James Hamilton's report into Nicola Sturgeon. Now, what ultimately you can get from this is you could get, now, who's the Cabinet Secretary? Simon Case. Simon Case, by dint of being Cabinet Secretary, is the head of the civil service. Now, Scotland's most civil servant is John Paul Marks, but Simon Case is his boss. So Simon Case could say, I want you to forward me a copy of the unredacted report for my viewing. And John Paul Marks could either comply and forward it, or you'd have to resign. Now, I don't think he wants to resign because, pensions. So he would undoubtedly forward that to to Simon Case. Simon Case could then hand that unredacted file to Alister Jack, and Alister Jack, as the Scottish Secretary, would be well within his role, and he could publish it in full, open, unredacted. And at that point, of course, you'd have a major problem in the SNP, because the truth will have come out, and they don't like that, do they? Anyway, the Scottish Government was accused of a cover-up. Gosh, say it ain't so. Surrounding its refusal to publish evidence about the alleged interference in the Alex Salmond sexual misconduct case. Tory MP David Davis restarted the row surrounding the secretive SNP executive by blasting it over its role in the scandal and getting a UK government minister involved. SNP ministers were ordered to go back and respond differently to a Freedom of Information request which asked for James Hamilton's report into whether Nicola Sturgeon breached the Ministerial Code due to her actions during the Salmond inquiry. It was previously released, but was mostly redacted. Yeah, they didn't want the truth coming out, so they hid it, they covered it up. They went to court over it as well. The government fought a costly and embarrassing court battle against the Scottish Information Commissioner in an attempt to block the documents from being released. This cost the taxpayer £30,000. And the judges took seconds to decide the government was wrong to claim it did not hold the information asked for. They were told to publish it. They did not. A second attempt to force the executive to publish the unredacted publication failed as ministers relied on other loopholes, which included claims it would likely to deter individuals from providing free and frank evidence in such investigations in future. Now the row has made its way to Westminster. Mr Davis, who's a good friend of the former First Minister Mr Salmond, utilised Scotland questions on Wednesday to ask the Scottish Secretary whether he had the power to investigate wrongdoing by the government. And he said 3 years ago, on the 16th of March 2021, we had a debate in this House on precisely the subject of this question. And at the time, I was concerned that Nicola Sturgeon's government were covering up interference in the complaints process against the First Minister. Since then, in defiance of the Information Commissioner and of a court order, they've continued to cover up. Will the Cabinet Secretary look at whether the Ministerial Code and the Civil Service Code have been broken? And they undoubtedly have. And of course, he has the power to demand to see that report. And as Scotland Secretary, he has the power to release it. And there is absolutely precisely nothing that the SNP can do. And if it's very highly embarrassing to the SNP, then so be it. But they have to comply with what the court said. And the court said, release it. Anyway, he was eventually found not guilty on all but one charge, which was found not proven. So he was innocent of all the charges bar one, and he was not proven on that last one. Bit of shady evidence. It's nothing major. He previously took action against the SNP executive over allegedly breaching the law when it investigated him and won £500,000 after it admitted that the procedures had been flawed and were unfair and tainted by apparent bias. Ms Sturgeon's role in the scandal was scrutinised by MSPs after the Holyrood inquiry was launched, and she was accused of lying to the committee after she failed to tell them about a key meeting she had with Mr Salmond's Chief of Staff, Jeff Aberdeen, about the allegations. I know that she got off with it. The former First Minister told the inquiry that she first heard about the sexual misconduct complaints against her predecessor when they met at her home on April 2nd, 2018, but it was later revealed that she discussed the issue with Mr Aberdeen a few days earlier. Found out she hadn't actually broke the code, and that's fine, she hasn't broke the code. She has nothing to fear from the release of it then. And if that's the case, why are they being so shady? Well, we know it's because in there, contained within, is allegedly and probably the fact that people put these women up to it. There was no case at all, and people put these women up to it in order to have a coup d'etat to get Alex Salmond out. And that's all it is. And if that was released, of course, it delegitimises everything. And it shows, of course, that the SNP are really just the absolute worst. But it also, of course, and this is the important one, opens up whoever's involved to a major case. They can be sued literally to smithereens. And that, of course, is why it's covered up. We need to see it. We need this to come out. We need Alister Jack to demand it and then to publish it, and then for Alex to go suing again and take them for every penny they've got. Anyway, I shall stop there. We'll round off. We'll come up and finish the video. So yes, it seems to be taking steps closer, ever closer to being revealed in full. And we know that the moment it is revealed in full, there'll be a lot of embarrassed faces. There'll be a lot of panic stations within the SNP. And Alex Salmond's lawyers will certainly be earning their money. They'll be so busy. They'll be putting writs in left, right and centre. It will absolutely and totally destroy the SNP. It'd be fantastic. Anyway, I shall finish there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I will speak to you later. Bye.